What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Raider Nation out there, coming back with a new video. Today we'll be discussing the NFL 2021 mock draft video, but we won't be discussing it. It'll be the boys from the NFL page, discussing everything from move the sticks. So let's pay attention closely and let's listen what they have to say. We'll discuss things as they go, or as we go. So with all that being said, let's hear this.
So let's crank things up here. With the first overall pick, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. No surprise here, Buck. Going with Trevor Lawrence.
5 second and
Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. New coach Urban Meyer, bringing in a new quarterback in Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. Now, this is going to be a good pick for Jacksonville, and the reason why this is going to be a good pick for Jacksonville is because that gives them a new evaluation of quarterback issues, and it gives them a new quarterback room. And then the only part I don't see them doing is throwing out Gardner Minshew like that. I see them maybe keeping him for a couple more years until Trevor Lawrence is comfortable with the team, and then I see them just starting to find trade offers for Gardner Minshew. But this is going to be a great pick. So
Lawrence keeps it, tries to get the edge, chased by Browning, dive, touchdown Tigers.
Yeah, I don't think this is a surprise. I think everyone expects the Jacksonville Jaguars to take Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has been QB1 for the longest.
Okay, now Trevor Lawrence, yes, he has been the best quarterback the last couple of years, but this year his stats weren't like wow type stats. His stats, yes, they were up there, barely any interceptions thrown, but he almost won the Heisman. But due to COVID concerns with him this season, it kind of threw out his chances at winning Heisman. And see here, he was a redshirt freshman, could not win Heisman because for some reason they didn't want him. Sophomore year, couldn't win Heisman because Joe Burrow won it. And then 2019 this year, Devontae Smith won it. And this year, it was not easy because of COVID and people opting out. So he lost. Like, his stats weren't mind-blowing this year, but they were good enough to try and win Heisman. But apparently he just wasn't, because of those 2 games with COVID that messed him up. So let's keep going.
It's time he gives them a franchise quarterback, something that they've never necessarily had in Jacksonville. I think Urban Meyer wants a big-time quarterback. He gets it in Trevor.
Yeah, and I think you talk about how does he fit in this offense or what's that going to look like. And if you go back to Urban Meyer's time at Utah, go all the way back then, remember what Alex Smith was able to do. This is like a souped up, like a super Alex Smith when you look at Trevor Lawrence. Bigger, faster, stronger, but can move around.
Now, the one part that he'd said about this, he looks like a super Alex Smith. I don't agree with that. Alex Smith was not able to run. Trevor Lawrence is able to move out of the pocket, run. Alex Smith, I mean, he was able to do that, but not as good as Trevor Lawrence was able to do. And after Alex Smith had that leg injury, he has not been able to do that. I think Alex Smith should retire from football. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything to be mean to Alex Smith. It's just, I don't think his leg's going to be able to let him do that anymore. So, but
a lot of those things. So exciting time there for the Jags as they get a new coach, and now they have a new quarterback. The second pick with the Jets is really where the draft starts. A lot of options. Did they stick with Sam Darnold? Did they take somebody to help Sam Darnold? Did they trade out? Or did they try and replace him? And that's what I have them doing with this pick right here, Buck. I think they'd be able to trade Sam, get a pick or two for him. The second pick in the draft, they go ahead and take their next signal caller here, and that's Zach Wilson at BYU.
Now, Jets drafting Zach Wilson with the number 2 overall pick from BYU. Now, what they said was, do you think Sam Darnold's going to just get traded away from the Jets? No, I do not think he's going to get traded away for a little while. I think they're going to keep him, trying to show Zach Wilson feel for the game, or feel the team. And then that's when they're going to go like, okay, now we need some trade offers to even trade away Sam Darnold, or have a shot at liking these trade offers so we can try and trade away Sam Darnold. I don't see them just, oh, we got a new quarterback. Who'll take Sam Darnold? Raiders, Texans, somebody who wants Sam Darnold. I don't see them doing that. I mean, yes, Sam Darnold did not perform like he was supposed to. Well, a big part of that is because your team just stinks in general. Let's see, 2019, I think it was a 4-12 start. People are so hyped because that opening week win. Which, there's nothing to be hyped about there. I mean, it's just one win, and then they completely lost hope. 2019, They went 7-9. People are thinking, okay, this Jets team's starting to go in the right direction. And then in 2020, just right down the gutter, completely lost all their games, mainly 1-2, and completely ruined their hopes at getting Trevor Lawrence. Completely ruined their hopes. But I think drafting Zach Wilson, maybe stepping in the right direction. Now, do I think they're going to just throw out Sam Darnold? Of course not. But that's just what I think. Okay, let's go.
By you.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting pick because we've heard Robert Saleh really wax poetic about Sam Darnold and what he could do in this version of San Francisco's offense. But now you move on from Sam Darnold, you get some more picks, you get Zach Wilson, who I think is.
Now, looking at Zach Wilson's stats, now they're not mind-blowing stats like Patrick Mahomes or Mayfield in college, but they look decent enough. I mean, the Jets, there's something you should be excited about. 33 touchdown pass ratio, 3 interception ratio. That's something to be a little optimistic about. Almost 4,000 passing yards. I think the Jets got some hope after all. I mean, they just need a defense, and then they'll be good. But you guys gotta get a new defensive coordinator because you guys have had some real make-or-break situations this year. But other than that, we're not talking defense right now. We're talking about quarterback situation for the Jets.
Maybe the most natural player at the position in this draft class. He is talented. He can do it all. He plays it the way you want to see the position played. He gives New York someone that they can hitch their wagon to.
Yeah, a lot of excitement there. Just somebody that's really instinctive and somebody that does a good job of protecting the football. I think with Sam, I love his ability, Buck, but that lapse in judgment 1 or 2 times a game that we've seen kind of throughout his career, you just kind of wonder, is he ever going to get past that? So that's part of the evaluation process. I think there's a lot of good options there for the Jets. One could be even, trading for a quarterback down in Houston that's pretty good. So a lot on the table there.
Now, like they just said, trading for a quarterback down in Houston, somehow I don't see that happening. I mean, yes, you may hear Deshaun Watson outside of Houston, but I don't think, no offense to the Jets fans, I don't think Deshaun Watson would want to go to the Jets, if anybody, because the Jets ain't got no good receivers other than Jamison Crowder. Other than him, the Jets team's completely garbage. No offense, your team's just completely trash. But I don't see them making those kinds of trades for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, yes, he may be a franchise type guy. I don't see him up there, up there yet. I think you just give him a little while to go, and then that's when you go like, okay, maybe somebody will start making a trade for this guy. I just don't see it happening right now, especially with how little salary cap is this year because of everything that's been going on. I just don't see that happening. I see Deshaun Watson staying with the Texans, if not for this upcoming season, and probably going away next upcoming season or 2022, because with the salary cap issues this year, and plus Watson is still under contract for some reason. Well, they could take the contract out. Well, no, they can't really take the contract out as much as they can. They can just give it to another team and say, here's the contract if you want to extend him. If not, deduct some years or give him a 1-year option, something like that. I just don't think the Texans are just going to throw Watson away like that. Or, you know what, better idea, just get a new receiver for Watson during free agency, and then maybe I'll reconsider him staying with the team. I don't see anybody trade. I don't see Watson being tradable right now.
For them. All right, third pick. Miami Dolphins could go tackle here, but I think they need a playmaker, and they're not going to go Devontae Smith. They're not going to reunite him and Tua. They're going to get the best receiver in the draft. To me, that's Jamar Chase from LSU.
Now, Jamar Chase, this actually is a good one for the Dolphins because watching most of their games this season, I noticed they needed some a playmaker on that offensive wide receiver position. I mean, just having Grant and whoever else they had, especially with one of those, whoever else they had, one of those playmakers going down, and then that completely just stutter stops the whole team. And if Tua can get that big of a player for this upcoming season, I think they'll be explosive. Now, they could also go with Devontae Smith. They could go with Ja'Marr Chase or Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. They got some good wide receivers out here who I think they can go with. It's just a matter of who they're going to get. Now, Ja'Marr Chase did opt out this season, which that kind of hurt his draft stock a little bit, but I don't think it'll hurt too much because they're still saying he will get the number one draft pick, or getting in the first round, getting to the first round of the draft. But I don't see Miami going with him. I see the Miami Dolphins going with either Devontae or somebody else, just not Ja'Marr yet. So, other than that, let's go.
Over the top, and he's got it. Touchdown, Ja'Marr Chase.
A big, physical wide receiver. I know, out of sight, out of mind.
Now, 2019, yes, you may be like, wait, he didn't play in 2020? No, because he opted out. But 2019, he had 84 receptions, 1,780 yards of receiving yards, and 20 touchdown catches. Now, that's big by a wide receiver, and that's something the Dolphins could have. It's just, I see the Bengals going with him, but at the same time with that, I don't see who's gonna chase him, because since he didn't play this year, not many teams have overall footage of him from college. But again, the draft is pretty weird, so again, this is who Miami might take. So, let's go.
Really kind of clouds his evaluation, but make no mistake about it. This is a top 5 player, a guy who has big time ability, can run routes, can take the top off the coverage. He is the number 1 receiver.
Now, I don't agree with him being the top 5 receiver. Yes, he may be good and all, but I don't agree with that, because you still have Devontae, Jalen Waddle, those big playmakers, Kyle Pitts, a tight end from Florida. And then I don't, as much as I like Ja'Marr Chase, I don't see him a top 5 receiver. I see him maybe top 10, if anything, just not top 5 yet. Because I didn't see so much out of him. 2019, go this receiver is something special. I mean, I was like that with Justin Jefferson. Nobody thought Justin Jefferson was going to even make the first round. And then what's he do? Makes the first round and completely balls out in his rookie year. So, I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong saying Ja'Marr Chase might ball out his rookie year. I mean, I thought that with Justin Jefferson, and I thought wrong. So, I could be wrong again, but we'll take a gander.
That they need. You put him on the field opposite Devontae Parker. Man, this Miami Dolphins offense looks a lot different.
Going to bake in a lot of easy completions there with Ja'Marr Chase. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go to the 4th pick, the Atlanta Falcons. I am going quarterback, and it's not the guy that's coming back home. I think a lot of people would expect that there with Justin Fields. A little bit of a curveball here. I've got Trey Lance from North Dakota State.
Now, that's what I don't agree with so much. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to take Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. I think they're going to go with Justin Fields. Oh, wait, never mind. This is what I don't think. That's just what they think. Now, Trey Lance, I don't know too much about him, because I didn't watch enough about him, because I didn't pay attention to FCS the last couple of years while he's been playing. So I don't know what to think of him. But he looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know.
You know, this is a really interesting one, because I think that if you connect the dots, you would think Justin Fields would be.
I mean, he looks like a mobile quarterback. He looks like Lamar Jackson a little bit. Like I say again, I don't know who he is all the way. So, although I don't see the Atlanta Falcons drafting him, but I mean, Atlanta Falcons are desperate need of a quarterback right now, so they could draft him. They could not. I don't know. I don't even know who he is, really.
The player there, but if you go and you look at Trey Lance's game, there's some similarities between the way Trey Lance plays and the way that Ryan Tannehill played for Arthur Smith.
Okay, looks like Trey Lance. 22. Ooh. did most of their season get postponed or something? 15 for 30. It's like 50% completion percentage right there. 150 not 40, basically 150 yards. And 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It looks like their season got canceled or something.
Tennessee. So if you take that same playbook with a year for Trey Lance to develop on the practice field while Matt Ryan starts, I think Atlanta has their future quarterback.
2019 stats. 2,786 passing yards, 28 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, 14 rushing touchdowns. He is a good rusher, I can tell. Good God. And a good thrower. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a college quarterback not throw an interception the whole season in 2019. That's kind of interesting. Atlanta. I think you might have to go with Trey Lance. I mean, just looking at the statistics and everything, and 14 rushing touchdowns in one college season. Actually, it looks like a pretty good quarterback. That looks like another Lamar Jackson, if anything. I mean, Atlanta, I think you guys may have your pick right here. But you'll still be cursed because the Falcons are the Falcons, and they still, they're still doo-doo.
Ready to go in 2022.
Yeah, going to need to be patient, take a little time there with Trey Lance, but potentially a big upside. We've got a chance to visit with him on the podcast previously. You can get a chance to see just how football smart he is, and all the tools are there. Just going to be patient, take a little time. All right, 5th pick, Cincinnati, going offensive tackle, and it's not Penei Sewell. I think everybody is kind of assumed for
offensive tackle, Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this dude, but I mean, he is an offensive tackle, so it's like pretty good for the Bengals, especially with helping out Joe Burrow a lot. So, don't know.
a long time. He's going to be the first offensive lineman off the board. He might be, Buck, but that is not a slam dunk when you talk to folks around the.
Now, the only issue is with him is he opted to sit out 2020 season. That's the only issue with some of these guys because they opted out this season. So I don't know like how good he was during 2019 because I didn't pay attention to Northwestern a whole lot. I didn't pay attention to some of these guys. Now the only issue with Cincinnati is that you get this guy, you don't know how good he is because he didn't play this season. That's the only issue. I mean, he sounds like a good dude. He's just, I don't know. Nobody knows how long he played this season, so that could be another issue.
There is a lot of love out there for Rashawn Slater. In my opinion, I think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft.
Very talented player, a guy who has a combination of athleticism, balance, footwork, and great technique. All you need to do is watch him play against Chase Young a year ago, and I think you'll come away impressed with his talent and his potential as a left tackle.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are up next year with the 6th pick, and I'm getting the sense I think they're going to try and work things out. A little marriage counseling there with Carson Wentz, trying to get that polished up. You got a new coach there, Nick Sirianni. So why not go give him some help? And that's what they do here with the 6th pick. You go out and get Devontae Smith.
Jones flips.
Now, Devontae Smith, that's actually a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles because then that gives you some more offensive depth on the wide receiver position, especially if Carson Wentz does stay with the Eagles, because then that'll help out Carson Wentz a lot and maybe Jalen Hurts. And since they have a new head coach now, I don't know how that's going to work. But Devontae Smith, he was a Heisman winner. And he completely blew up the wide receiver core in all of college football. So that could be a good position. That could be a good pick for the Eagles. I mean, let's see his stats.
To him, Devontae headed for the end zone. Jones on the run, and it's just too easy for Devontae Smith.
As we like to say, Buck, he's a route.
Yes, he is the 2020 Heisman Trophy winner. He won it fair and square because personally he wouldn't have won it if Jalen Waddle was still in because Jalen Waddle was front runner to win it before his foot injury. So that's just personally like the truth there that if Jalen Waddle was still in, I guarantee you Devontae Smith wouldn't have won it. But you know,
runner, he's a technician, he's a craftsman, and that translates very well to the next level.
It does translate very well to the next level. You have to think this is going to be a complete revamping of this wide receiver core. Jalen Reagor is guaranteed to be there, but
now 2020, he had a ridiculous year, I can tell. 117 receptions. That, I think that he actually set a record for that at Alabama. Almost 2,200 yards. Wow. Almost 200 almost 200 yards there. 23 touchdown receptions. Wow. The Eagles might actually. I can still see the Eagles taking him, actually. I mean, that's actually a hard. That'd be hard for the Eagles to pass up unless they see some other wide receiver that is way better than him. I don't see any other wide receiver than Jalen Waddle possibly better than him. I don't see how the Eagles can pass him up like that. I mean, I don't see how that's possible.
Alshon Jeffrey possibly gone. Deshaun Jackson possibly gone.
Now, the issue with this one is that you get Devontae Smith, and then I think I heard something about like Alshon Jeffrey possibly being gone, which that's going to hurt the Eagles then. Because Alshon Jeffrey is your veteran on that team who could help Devontae Smith. Who could perform better at a higher level. That will hurt them if that happens. Now, do I think Alshon Jeffrey might possibly leave? No. Because I think he's still under contract. I could be wrong. He's still under a contract in Philadelphia. I could be wrong, though. But last time I heard, he's still under contract or something. Now, will that hurt Philadelphia? In the long run, yes. Because basically you're getting rid of your number one receiver or number one weapon for Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. And who else?
They have to find a younger, more dynamic set of weapons around Carson Wentz. Devontae Smith gives them an electric playmaker.
Yeah, somebody that can separate.
To be there, but Alshon Jeffrey possibly gone. Deshaun Jackson possibly gone.
Oh, no, I just heard Deshaun Jackson possibly gone. Now, that could actually hurt the Eagles. Well, now, it won't actually hurt the Eagles so much as they'll deplete the whole offensive wide receiver depth core. That'll completely deplete them. I mean, now that you're thinking about it, completely two guys gone from that team. Two big, explosive playmakers. Bringing in a rookie wide receiver. I mean, we thought that about Minnesota when they traded away freaking Stephon Diggs and brought in Justin Jefferson. Oh, Minnesota's done. Justin Jefferson is not going to do well with this team. Boom! Justin Jefferson, possibly rookie of the year. But that was ridiculous. I'm looking at this like, wait, what? I mean, how can this player, who's a rookie, come in and explode the league, freaking catching passes over pro defenders out of all positions? Like, come on.
They have to find a younger, more dynamic set of weapons around Carson Wentz. Devontae Smith gives them an electric playmaker.
Yeah, somebody that can separate right away, give you some open windows, something they didn't have a lot of there the last couple years. All right, the 7th pick. This is where things start to get interesting. You look at the Detroit Lions, and the report comes out that they are open to trading Matthew Stafford.
Okay, now that's the interesting one, Lions, because apparently with this report now that you're open to trading away Matthew Stafford, that just tells you need a new quarterback. Because if you're doing that, that tells you that it's time to move on from Matt Stafford, which, yes, it can be because he's at that age now where he's not doing so well, especially with all the injuries he's taken from your team in the past because your team is cursed. But anyways, I think this is the right step in the direction towards a new era down in Detroit. I mean, new head coach, new everything.
So that means to me they're very much in the quarterback market. And I would not even be shocked if they tried to move up. You look at a team like Miami at pick number 3, Buck. That could be a destination for them to try and get up.
Now they're saying that Detroit could even possibly move up in the draft, which I could so actually see that happening because Miami, they had the record that they had. They should be in the later draft picks. Detroit did not do so well. So I'm thinking if Detroit actually trades up to number 3, then Detroit will actually get their longer-term quarterback in maybe Justin Fields or Mac Jones. Because Mac Jones is still on that list. And so is Justin Fields. But I think they'll try and get Justin Fields. Just my prediction there.
To make sure they get a quarterback they like. In this scenario, they sit right where they are. And Justin Fields from Ohio State falls right in their lap.
Now, Lions drafting Justin Fields. That actually might be a good draft pick because with Justin Fields' versatility, ability to run, scramble, make stuff happen with his feet, keep plays alive, I think that actually might be a great long-term deal for the Lions. Just saying, because with the Lions, with your issue, the quarterback position, you need somebody that's able to run out of the pocket and to create plays and keep plays alive. Matthew Stafford, yes, he may have been able to do that his rookie year, or his second year in the league, but with him being so older, with him getting old now, his aging, his injuries to his body and everything, and his feet not working well anymore, it's hard to run out of the pocket and completely throw those passes and make plays off that. It's getting hard. So with them, I could still see them getting Justin Fields just to help out with passing game and all that. So this is actually a good pick.
There's a man wide open. It's Rucker. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. It's especially interesting now that we look at the composition of their coaching staff. Anthony Lynn coming over to be the offensive coordinator.
Now, their coaching staff, Anthony Lynn from the Chargers, the head former coach of the Chargers, coming over to be their offensive coordinator. That might actually be better for Anthony Lynn. Teaching Justin Fields how to work around pressure and everything. Teach him the position, I mean, yes, he was almost a national champion this year. Don't get me wrong. But personally, I think if you can help him out there a little bit more, then he should be good. I mean, let's check out his stats.
Dan Campbell talking about being kind of a little hardened team. I think you will see a run-first team as Justin Fields grows into the position, but also look for the Detroit Lions to maybe sign a bridge quarterback. Maybe that quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
I don't know if he likes to bite kneecaps, but I think it's a good fit there with Dan Campbell. All right, let's get to pick number 8, the Carolina Panthers. I think they would have been very interested to look at a quarterback.
Are you telling me they're not going to show Justin Fields' stats? I'm pretty sure I'll pull it up later. Hold up.
If one were to fall, we had 4 quarterbacks gone in the first 7 picks. So they're out of it. I don't think there's anybody they can take there. Mac Jones, I think it's a little early for that one there. So I have them going with the tackle, Big Penei Sewell out of Oregon, to the Panthers at number 8.
Now, Penei Sewell out of Oregon, offensive tackle. Now, that actually might be a good idea for Matt Rule and his team, because he did say they're going to go physical or something like that when he came in. And drafting him, as long as Christian McCaffrey, keeping him, and Derek Brown, I think Matt Rule's trying to get this team back into its ways of the NFC title game back in 2015 again. I mean, that's just me, I think. That's what I'm thinking. But, Matt Rule's trying to change the culture of this team, and what better way to do it than bring in a offensive tackle and completely change to help keep protection around Chris McCaffrey, Teddy Bridgewater, That's pretty good. Matt Rule, you're doing great things, man.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because one thing that we know about Matt Rule, he wants a tough and physical football team. They were unable to impose.
So he wants a tough and physical football team. I mean, they were unable to pose that this season because of Chris McCaffrey being out and so many injuries to Bridgewater and offensive line changes and everything else. They were unable to do that. But I think bringing him in, getting McCaffrey back, getting everybody back, that might actually bring a whole new sense of urgency to this team.
They will consistently on opponents. You get Penei Sewell to insert into that offensive line. You get Christian McCaffrey back. Now you see the Carolina Panthers play the style that Matt Rule really.
Now, my dude Penei Sewell was an first-team All-American 2019. Now, that's big for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, that doesn't mean much. It's still big, though.
Wants to play down in Charlotte.
All right, we get to the 9th pick, the Denver Broncos. We got him going Caleb Farley here, a big corner out of Virginia Tech. I believe he's the best corner in the draft.
Now, Caleb Farley, the Broncos take him at number 9. The Broncos need a lot of help on their defense anyways, and probably their offense. But that's not the point. The point is they're drafting a cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Now, he seems pretty good, but like I said, I don't know who most of these prospects are, so that could be another issue. And with them having so many free agency issues this year, because how many defensive players are running their free agency, including Von Miller, they might have to start looking at new linebackers too during the draft to help, so that Bradley Chubb can actually help him. And Denver's gonna have a lot to. Denver has to have a lot go their way in order to succeed this upcoming season. But I mean, if Denver can do some positive things, they should be back to the way they were. Just giving them a while. I mean, it'd probably take them like 4 or 5 seasons.
To me, I think he's one of the 5 best players in the draft. He's outstanding. He opted out this last year. Big, long, fast, physical with outstanding ball skills.
DJ, you don't have to look any further than the AFC champion.
Now, the only problem is with him is he opted out this season. That could be an issue. Now, because you don't know how well he was, and you don't know how well he was during 2019. I mean, because obviously now your stats are not reflecting from this season because you opted out. So that hurts you, actually. That might actually hurt you with the teams going like, oh, this dude looks good, This dude looks like one of those type 1 overall, 1 round choices, That might actually hurt you now in the long run.
Game to know that how you have.
Personally, I think everybody who opted out this season actually might hurt them this year, next upcoming season, because now, yes, in the NFL you have to fight for your spot, but now I think you actually have to do some extra work to get that spot in the NFL compared to with opting out, what a lot of players did. I mean, that's gonna hurt a lot of players a lot this season.
Construct your team. You're in this division, the Denver Broncos, and you got to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs twice a year. You better have a stable of cornerbacks. Caleb Farley gives them a big physical player to maybe snuff out some of this.
Now, the positive thing about him is he was a first-team All-ACC player in 2019. Now, I tell you something, he looked pretty good in 2019, like they just said. But the only issue is now with him is that you don't know how he did because he didn't play this season because he opted out. So you don't know how well he is.
Need an explosiveness that the Kansas City Chiefs can present with their wide receiver core.
All right, last pick here in the top 10. Let's go Dallas Cowboys. Let's stick with the cornerback theme here. Patrick Surtain. Some people believe he's the top cornerback. He's 1 or 2, depending on who you talk.
I don't know about him. I mean, as much as you heard, Dak Prescott could be going free agency this upcoming offseason. So that could be an issue for them. Because now if they don't draft the quarterback, they're well done. Because, I mean, yes, you almost made the playoffs. I mean, but Andy Dalton, what is it going to be, your long-term deal? No! You need a franchise quarterback. You can't just rely on Andy Dalton the whole time. I mean, Andy Dalton's going to be like, sooner or later he's going to have to retire. Sooner or later he's going to have to find a new team. You cannot just rely on Andy Dalton. You guys, I don't see this happening, but I mean, they're probably going to go with another quarterback during the draft, so that's just me, though. But Patrick Surtain, he's a good cornerback out of Alabama.
So. But big, talented, again, long, instinctive corner from Alabama. Maybe the short area quickness not quite at the level with Farley. That's the only difference to me. But somebody with high character, high competitiveness. Obviously, the genes are good as well.
Yeah, I think.
So he was a first-team All-American this year. So that's a plus for him, I guess. Like I said, with these cornerbacks, these defensive players, you don't know their stats because they only show wide receivers and quarterbacks for some reason. Don't know why they are. But I mean, that's a plus. You see him, he's an all first-team All-American, so that's good.
He's the most pro-ready corner in this class. He has been well-schooled in terms of understanding how to play the game from his dad. Also at Alabama, you now get a chance to pair him opposite.
So he was Rose Bowl defensive MVP. So I mean, it didn't really matter who won bowl games this year because it wasn't the same feeling as it was last year because with everything that happened this year and barely any fans allowed in, it wasn't the same feeling winning a bowl game. It wasn't the same feeling going to a bowl game because of what happened this year. So, I mean, it's like, okay.
Of Diggs, I think now you have 2 young corners that can grow together. I think that bodes well for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Buck, let's keep it rolling here. Let's go picks 11 through 15. Some interesting ones here. Let's start first with the New York Giants. Need a playmaker. I've got him going Jalen.
Now, the Giants going with Jalen Waddle. Now, hold up here. The Giants, personally, I don't see them going with Jalen Waddle. Yes, that might help Daniel Jones a little bit, but I don't see them going with Jalen Waddle. I mean, I mean, Jalen Waddle, he's a pretty good receiver. But only issue is his injury from this season, and with his foot, that could hurt the Giants a little bit because you don't know how well he's going to perform off that injury. Because since he only played one game off that injury, and that was the national championship game. So you don't know how well he's going to do this upcoming season when he gets drafted. So you basically have to wait until he gets healed and then find out how well he's going to do during practice.
Waddle, the fastest player in the draft out of the University of Alabama, would be a great toy there for Daniel Jones. Things get interesting at 12. We'll get to this in a second. I've got the 49ers taking Kyle Pitts.
Now 49ers at 12 taking Kyle Pitts. Now their tight end with George Kittle, that's a good tight end. I mean, George Kittle's one of those tight ends who will completely blow up anybody. But if you draft Kyle Pitts, then you could do some longer like running formations with like 3 tight end sets and everything, and a running back and a fullback. But I mean, Kyle Pitts, he's a good tight end, obviously. Now, if he was a receiver, he could probably be like top 5 receiver in the draft. But since he is a tight end, he plays like he may be a tight end, but he plays like receiver with his speed and everything, and his blocking shed and everything. That might be a plus if the Niners do get him.
A tight end out of Florida. Pick 13, I've got the Chargers taking Elijah Vera Tucker.
Now, the Chargers taking Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. That might be a big thing for Justin Herbert, because then that gives you more time to throw. That gives you more time to find wide open receivers. Because Justin Herbert, they had so many issues with sacks this season, it wasn't even funny. And getting a guy like him out of USC, that might be a big thing for the Chargers going forward.
Get some offensive line help, much needed there. Pick 14, I've got Greg Rousseau, a guy we love.
Greg Rousseau, edge out of Miami for the Vikings. Now, I don't know who this dude is a whole lot, but he seems like one of those powerful edge rushers from the Hurricanes. So that is a plus. It's just I don't know how good he is.
Visiting with on the show, big, long, athletic defensive end from Miami. He goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Then at 15, a tremendous value pick.
Now, the Patriots, they need a lot of help, obviously. But starting right in the right direction, Micah Parsons, a linebacker out of Penn State. Now, he was a really good linebacker out of Penn State. He was really good. I mean, he would tackle people a lot for losses, you know. He was a definition of Khalil Mack now. He's the definition of Mack now. And Patriots, they need a quarterback too, but I mean, they're keeping it real simple with linebackers, so that works, I guess.
Here for the New England Patriots, they get big Micah Parsons, a linebacker out of Penn State who can play on the edge, can play off the ball, an outstanding player. What stands out to you there, Buck?
First thing that stands out to me is Jalen Waddle. Waddle stands out because this is someone before the injury, we're talking about him possibly being the number 1 wide receiver that is taken. His explosiveness, particularly at a time where we're seeing these speedy receivers impact teams.
Now, they just said if it wasn't for his injury, he could have been the number 1 receiver taken. Yes. But now the issue is, after his injury, how well is he going to perform now off that injured foot? How well is he going to perform now? Because you got to take that into account with the team who drafts him. Yes, he may struggle his first year, because all players do when you're coming off a big injury like that. Barely any playing time. You're getting 1 game back in a big national spotlight game where you're ready and all, but then you're not really ready because your body's still like hurting from that injury. But that could be another issue. How is he going to perform under pressure? How is he going to perform in too deep safety dropbacks? How is he going to perform like that?
I think that's something that the Giants need. It's something that Daniel Jones also needs.
Yeah, I think you watch Tyreek Hill in the playoffs and you go, oh, I want one of those. I'll take one of those. Jalen Waddle. And if he doesn't get hurt, he might have won the Heisman Trophy. He was actually.
Now they're saying if Jalen Waddle would have gotten hurt, he might have actually won the Heisman Trophy, which was true, because if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, I think he was actually like hot seat for the Heisman Trophy. I could be wrong though, but he was there for the Heisman Trophy. He just when he got hurt, it hurt his chances, and which led Devontae Smith to win it, because Devontae Smith took over his role completely and just blew up the season.
Outpacing Devontae Smith before he got hurt, but a dynamic player who's just a fun guy to watch. So a nice weapon there for the Giants. What else you got?
The other one that is intriguing to me is Kyle Pitts going to the San Francisco 49ers. The first thing that you think about is, why would they take another tight end when they have George Kittle, who is arguably the...
That's a good question. Why would you want to take another tight end when you have George Kittle? That's a good question. But with Kyle Pitts, George Kittle may be a big dude who cannot be tackled very easily. That's a plus. But the issue is, how are you going to contain Kyle Pitts in like throwing and play action pass situations? Are you going to literally tell Kittle, you're not coming in for this play? You know, like how are they going to do that? I mean, I don't see that happening somehow.
Best tight end in football, and as we've talked about, positionless football, particularly when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, the weapons that they're assembling on the outside: George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and then you add Kyle Pitts to the mix. I would hate to see a defensive coordinator.
Now, he wasn't spot on this year. I mean, because he is a tight end. So, but touchdown catches for a tight end, that's too much. But I mean, 43 receptions, not great. 770 yards. Like, not the best for a tight. I mean, it is great for a tight end and all in college, but not the like greatest. Like, oh look, I have almost 800 yards. It's not the greatest, but 12 touchdowns. Now that's something huge. That if the Niners get him, that's something they'll need. Somebody who knows who can catch in the end zone and completely like score, like help Jimmy Garoppolo out. You know. Because they lost a handful of receivers this year. So
they have to come up with a plan to deal with a 12 personnel package from Kyle Shanahan and crew. I think he adds some explosiveness and gives Kyle Shanahan another toy to play with as he's drawing up plays.
Yeah, look, Kyle Pitts, if he was just an X receiver in this draft, would probably be a top 15 pick just as a receiver.
Now, they're saying if Kyle Pitts was the X receiver in this draft, he would probably be a top 15, which I don't agree with that, because with the way Kyle Pitts was, he had the speed of any other tight end. He would probably be a top 5 wide receiver if he was in wide receiver player, but since they are saying he would be top 15, I don't agree with that.
Now you add to the fact he's actually a tight end and he's functional in the run game. You break the huddle, you don't know if there's going to be any running backs back there. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk could line back there, or you could just go empty. You could put Pitts out wide. Kittle can play in the slot. I mean, again, positionless football. It's the future. Kyle Shanahan would have a lot of fun with that. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's go pick 16 through 20.
Now, pick 16 through 20. Cardinals to like Jalen Phillips, edge out of Miami. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Raiders, linebacker, Notre Dame. Now, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he is a good run stopper. I mean, if the Raiders were to actually pick him up this year, which I could so see that happening, because like we said, we need defense. That actually might be huge. I mean, with his ability to get to the quarterback and create turnovers, that would be huge. Linebacker position. Now, Miami Dolphins go for offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I don't know who he is all that well. Wide receiver Kadarius Toney, Florida. He seems like a recruit receiver. And now Chicago offensive tackle Jalen Mayfield. Wait, is he Baker Mayfield's brother? Out of Michigan. Yeah. I mean, okay, let's see these dudes.
Arizona Cardinals taking Jalen Phillips, very, very gifted edge rusher, a fascinating story. UCLA transfer down there to Miami. So the Hurricane, he goes 16 to the Cardinals. 17, the Raiders get an athletic linebacker to fit into Gus Bradley's scheme. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame, the Butkus Award winner, outstanding player. 18, Christian Darrisaw. The Dolphins last year, their second first-round pick, went out and got Austin Jackson. Now they come back, double down on the offensive line with Darrisaw, the tackle out of Virginia Tech. And then 19, Kadarius Toney, a really, really explosive playmaker there out of Florida. He goes to the Washington football team, followed by pick number 20, and that is the Chicago Bears upgrading that offensive line with Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. Which one piques your interest?
Kadarius Toney really piques my interest because I just think about this Washington football team and what they need to do to go to the next level. And I think playmaking, regardless of who they put at quarterback, they need more weapons on the outside. Love Terry McLaurin. I like what we've seen from Antonio Gibson.
So it looks like Kadarius Toney out of Florida. He looks like he got a lot of speed, actually. Something that will actually help back-to-back with Terry McLaurin. I mean, that actually might be a good pick for the Washington football team, or whatever name they're going to get this year. So.
At running back, but they need another piece.
Now, here's his stats. Now, his stats are not too pop, but 70 receptions, almost 1,000 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. And that actually is pretty good for a receiver. Not like eye-popping stats like Devontae Smith and, Devontae Smith was, but I mean, that's good enough when you think of a receiver and you think somebody out of Florida. I mean, Kyle Trask, quarterback. Oh, that's something another team needs.
I think Toney gives them somebody that is dynamic and someone that can score from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. You can't tackle him. And also is going to impact your return game as well. So when you look at trying to get some more weapons assimilated there, they need to look at the quarterback position. And as we kind of move forward to this next pick, it's going to kind of reveal one of the options that they could have when it comes to the carousel of quarterbacks we're going to see this year. Because as we go picks 21 through 25, we start at pick 21, and I know.
Oh, okay. Now, the interesting part. Now, it's Kitty Payne for Detroit out of Michigan. Now, that's something that you'll need to keep an eye on, because Detroit could go another receiver here or halfback or something, but they want to go defensive edge. Tennessee Titans cornerback Jace Horn out of South Carolina. I don't know. Oh, the Jets. I mean, Frank Gore, yes, he may be getting older, and he may be retiring out of this season, but Travis Etienne, running back Clemson. Now, Travis Etienne, he has speed and all. He's hard to bring down, but I don't see Travis Etienne going in this round. Pittsburgh offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. Don't know who he is. Safety, Jaguars safety Trayvon Monhig, TCU. Don't know who these guys are, other than Travis Etienne. But
the Indianapolis Colts that are picking here. But they're not, because we've got them making a trade for Matthew Stafford, and that's going to involve the 20.
Oh! That could actually hurt the Lions now. That could actually hurt them now. Wow. They trade Matthew Stafford away for a first-round pick? For a first-rounder? That could actually hurt them.
First overall pick, which means now this is the property of the Detroit Lions. So they've got their quarterback earlier with Justin Fields.
Oh.
Now this is a pick they could pick up if they do make a trade with Stafford. And we've got them getting some edge help here with Kwity.
My bad. So they traded the Colts away from the 21st pick in the first round with Matt. Oh, my God. Whoops. Wrong thing. Why was I thinking that? Oh, well. Anyway.
Hey, 22, J.C. Horn goes to Tennessee. Man, you watch Adoree Jackson really struggle in the postseason to cover. So they need to address the corner position. They do it with J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's son, out of South Carolina. 23, the Jets' second pick. They go Travis Etienne, running back out of Clemson. Needs some juice. Had no juice in the backfield last year. He gives you that. And then 24 would be Tevin Jenkins, big offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And finally, 25, the Jags with their second first-round pick. Trevon Moehrig, the safety from TCU, who I think is easily the best safety in the draft class. So let's circle back to 21, though. Your thoughts on that one?
No, I think this is a trade that makes so much sense for the Indianapolis Colts, because when you look at the Indianapolis Colts, they are a team that they are ready to go. They have everything that you could want. Offensive line, they got weapons at the skill positions. Defensively, they're playing at a high level. You now give them an opportunity to get a younger veteran quarterback where you can kind of drop him in, plug and play. I think it gives them a chance. And for the Detroit Lions, it makes sense to make the pick. It makes sense because you're getting rid of Matthew Stafford. You get another first-round pick. Brad Holmes and that staff, they get an opportunity to add some more pieces in the rebuild process. I think the trade makes sense, and I think the pick that follows also makes sense.
Okay, let's keep it scooting here, Buck. Let's go 26-30. The Cleveland.
Now, 26-30, Browns, which actually had a really good season. Linebackers Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. I mean, I don't know who he is. I don't know who any of these players are. But I'll just name off. Baltimore goes with, in a mock direction, edge rusher Azizi Adrahari out of University of Georgia. Saints go with linebacker Nick Bolton out of Missouri. Packers go with Tutu at wide receiver out of Louisville. And then the Bills go with cornerback Aaron Robinson out of UCF. Okay.
Browns at 26 need linebacker help. We saw that in the postseason. They get one here with Zaven Collins, huge linebacker out of Tulsa. Long, explosive, fun player to watch. We go to Baltimore with pick number 27. Trying to find edge rush. They're always looking for edge rushers. They get one here in Azeez Ojulari. A little bit undersized, but plays really, really hard. A very productive player there for the Bulldogs. And then, again, linebacker. We come with Nick Bolton here to the Saints at pick 28. Out of Missouri, run and hit, big-time speed. Speaking of speed, 29, the Green Bay Packers. Tutu Atwell, wide receiver from Louisville. And then 30, Buffalo. We watched them fail to cover the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's upgrade that secondary, continue to add to that mix. It's a deep group, but more talent is needed. They go Aaron Robinson, height, weight, speed corner from Central Florida, transfer from Alabama. Interesting player. But I have a feeling I know where you want to go here.
DJ, we've been at this for a long time, and I cannot believe that you continue to connect the dots and try and put a wide receiver with the Green Bay Packers when I've told you from a philosophical standpoint, that is not how the Packers operate. They look for those big positions there. They find their receivers in the second and third round or late in the draft. I like Tutu Atwell. I understand what you want to do in terms of bringing more speed. I just don't think that the Packers go that route.
I know. I said it in the blurb online. I know they're probably not going to do this, but a guy can dream, right? I mean, I think about Tutu Atwell in that offense with Aaron Rodgers. He just gives them a little something different. We've got Tampa Bay going Joe Tryon, edge rusher from Washington.
Tampa Bay going with Joe Tryon, edge rusher out of Washington. Okay.
Washington, big, physical, strong, powerful guy. Opted out this last year, so we haven't seen him since 2019.
Now, the issue is that he did opt out this year, so that's kind of an issue now. So you don't know how well that is, how well he is. That's an issue.
And then we've got his teammate here, back-to-back Huskies, Kansas City, going Levi Onwuzurike.
Levi Onwuzurike, defensive tackle out of Washington. Now, Chiefs, they need some help on our defense, especially with the run game, because that chokes them out a little bit. So,
who I think is the best three-technique defensive tackle in this draft class. Another one who opted out this last year.
Oh, that's another issue. Another player who opted out this season. That's a big issue. Because with how, like I said, this draft is full of mostly players and some of the players that opted out this season, which is not gonna help your draft stock. So
the two guys from Washington that opted out both sneak into the back end of the first round. But I think when you're picking down here, Buck, just take the best player. You got good rosters. Just take the best guy. Don't worry about need.
Yeah, I think that's what you do. And I think it's interesting because you bring up two opt-out guys. I think that is going to be the big conversation that we have throughout this process. How do you evaluate the players that did not participate in the season in 2020? Do they get a bump? Do they get demoted? How does their lack of participation impact their grade? And our team's willing to bank on guys that you haven't seen.
All right. With all that being said, this was the first round mock draft, so all this was not exactly true, but thank you all for watching. As always, we'll see you for the full second round 2021 NFL mock draft. With all that being said, stay hyped. I'll catch you soon. Peace.